Yes, indeed. Those are some of the stories that are going to be expected today. I already took you through that. But let's report on what the dailies have for you this morning. Let's start with Daily Trust. And it's this lead story, SIM-NIN linkage. 11 million subscribers face blockage today. Ask for more time. NCC forecloses deadline extension. So have you done yours? Have you linked your NIN with your SIM card? As a big story on the front page of Daily Trust newspapers. They also have a number of other stories which we may highlight for you much later. But let's leave it there for Daily Trust. Kimberly?
Well, take a look at New Telegraph. Our restructure, pay Nigeria's debts. Ascribed to Tinubu. Takes responsibility for nation's challenges to sign executive order to reduce costs of drugs. Secures $1 billion Afrexim Bank grants for medical development. FG set to release 50 billion naira basic healthcare fund. So that's the writer for that lead story. And then you get to see beneath that lead story, blackouts in Abuja as vandals attack electricity tower. Attack reduces power volume by 250 megawatts, ascribed to TCN. So that's New Telegraph this morning.
The Nigerian Observer is what I have for you, and I heard you mention Afrexim Bank, Chamberlain, just $1 billion. Well, on the front page of the Nigerian Observer today, it's a lot more than that. Nigeria gets 60% share of Afrexim Bank's $30 billion oil gas funding. 60%. Okay. Well, you may want to understand the details. What all of that mean, the details you have right there in the story on the front page of the Nigerian Observer this morning.
So see, The Guardian has this, talking about oil as well. Nigeria spends about 50% of oil earnings on production costs. So how efficient is the country in terms of the crude oil it extracts from the ground? That's what The Guardian is focusing on its front page this morning. Look at the story. It says NNPC alone spent over 267.98 billion on securing its assets in 16 months, which means the entire industry could be spending about 1 trillion naira on insecurity in the period. And then they do a comparative analysis for you, showing you how much it costs to produce crude oil in other parts of the world and how much it costs to produce it here in Nigeria, listing also the factors for you. We'll leave it there for The Guardian newspapers.
Well, look at Vanguard. Oronsenye report. FG, Labour disagree on job losses. So that's the big one here. Tinubu to Nigerians, I won't rush to restructure. That's at the bottom straight of the paper today.
The leadership newspaper's front page has this one that's been equally disturbing over time, and it is about the medical sector. FG takes steps to crash cost of drugs, embarks on medical industrialization, secures $1 billion Afrexim grant, injects 50 billion naira into primary healthcare centers, Tinubu to sign executive order. All of that you get a better understanding of on page 4 of the leadership newspaper this morning.
Look at Daily Independent. Tinubu assures Nigerians of proper lasting restructuring, says Nigerians' pain over economic hardship won't be in vain. That's a Daily Independent. That's the lead story on the front page of Daily Independent newspapers. Kimberly?
Yeah, so have a look at this Nigeria. It's a similar narrative. Oronsenye report. We won't throw people into labor market, says FG. So that's a lead one on the front page today.
Business Day has this one. Interesting, exciting for many, I dare say. And it's about airline costs. Air Peace slashes Lagos-London route fare by 66%. Well, what does that mean? Are we going to get the same fare costs slash within the country? I don't know. The details you'll find on the front page and other Details you'll find on page 30 of Business Newspaper this morning.
So making those trips abroad now, you understand, it's become a bit outrageous. Well, it's also outrageous to travel locally these days. If you take a look at what Blueprint Newspapers has for you, Healthcare Fund. Yeah, Blueprint, that's the lead story there. Healthcare Fund. Federal government rolls out 50 billion naira executive order on drug costs underway. Records 3.46% GDP growth. Crashes petrol importation by 50%. Nigeria already reaping benefits of our reforms. That's attributed to Idris. Find out how on the front page of Blueprint, and I'm sure it continues somewhere inside the Daily. Let's leave it there for the paper.
Our leadership told a similar line, though. FG takes steps to crash cost of drugs.
Yeah.
So, and then the writer here says embarks on medical industrialization, secures $1 billion Afrexim Bank grant, injects 50 billion naira into primary healthcare centers. Tinubu to sign executive order. So that's the big lead on the front page of Leadership today.
I guess that's our look at the papers this morning. Just take a look at some of the stories that immediately stick out. Go back to Daily Trust newspapers there, and you see that SIM name linkage, 11 million subscribers face blockage today. By the way, for those of you who use MTN lines, did you experience an outage yesterday? Do Nigerians deserve an explanation when such a thing happens on such a wide scale? I mean, we should either be getting an explanation from the provider and also the regulator, telling people just what must have transpired, because a lot of people were running into some difficulty yesterday, unable to make calls, unable to send data or transact business over the internet. It was a bit of discomfort yesterday experiencing that. But I have been a bit concerned about this SIM name linkage, because sometimes when you've done some of the things that have been required of you, you're not even sure that you've completed the process. So is there any way that users of the alliance can verify that what it was that they did actually went through? Because every time you want to make a call, you're reminded over and over again, you're thinking to yourself, I think I did this. I am sure I did this. But then again, you're still afraid that, I could be one of the 11 million subscribers who will face a blockage today. So I'm actually hoping that there will be a platform through which users can verify for those people who have done this name SIM linkage, that their linkage was successful. I know you're supposed to get an SMS when that is completed, but can you really rely on that and take it to the bank?
What about that, the blackouts? The challenge the consumers had yesterday, as highlighted on the front page of the Daily, the Trust.
It wasn't highlighted.
Okay, well, the subscribers. The question you did ask about whether or not.
Yes, they owe us an explanation.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just them. There were other service providers who also experienced that outage.
Yeah.
And so, but if I could just, a similar outage too, on the front page of New Telegraph at the lower strip, where you see blackout in Abuja as vandals attack electricity tower. So lots of houses at the moment just going through all of that. No power supply whatsoever. So maybe New Telegraph, the report there might be the explanation that lots of people are looking for. But the telecom sectors did say that construction companies damaged the fibers while construction was going on. And so the NCC is supposed to step in and interface to ensure that this vandalism and damage to critical infrastructure doesn't happen. But they have also, for a while now, been going back and forth as to the bill on telecoms infrastructure as critical national infrastructure is yet to be passed. So many of them in the sector feel if this bill is passed, it will. Enforcement kicks in. You won't have construction companies who, upon construction, damage those facilities and those assets. And they say sometimes they cut about several kilometers of fiber. Sometimes it could be between 20 to 70. And if there are multiple cuts on that line, you literally have got to replace between 20 to 70 kilometers of fiber. And so they feel that's what transpired yesterday for a lot of them. And so they feel that this is the present challenge that they face. So that's the explanation that came through upon inquiry by some of those telecom companies.
Well, it's very interesting that when you put it that way, you know, Chamberlain. At the end of the day, one of the questions that I would want to ask is, you know, exactly how committed we all are to the Nigerian project. You know, these things we all knew was going to happen, and perhaps one of the challenges you want to also ask.
So just to wrap up our look at the papers this morning.
Yeah.
Apologies.
At papers this morning. Thank you so much. Keep staying with us here. We're going to be delving into the segments very soon, telling you what it is that we have much later in the program. Just stay with us.